All right, what's going on Facebook? It is day 36, 40 Juice Fast of Fitness, year 10, day 36. This plane is landing. This journey is coming to its close. I got about 4 days left. And yeah, here we are. Proving once again to myself and to the world that it is the juice in the fiber that feeds you, okay? And not one particle of fiber that you consume ever resynthesizes itself through the intestinal wall into your bloodstream, okay? If, in fact, fiber does somehow get through the tight junctions, okay, that seal off fiber from passing through, that is a problem, okay? That is a problem. And a lot of times people who have celiac disease or some kind of intestinal lining issue going on, where they have inflammation like polyps and things like that, that's because food is passing through those tight junctions on your intestinal lining, and that should never, ever happen, okay? Fibrous foods in the original design for man within the raw biological mandate going back to the Garden of Eden, when you consume food, the only thing your body is supposed to absorb, okay, as that fibrous food passes through the 32-foot long digestive tract from the from the mouth to the anus, okay, and then as the food passes out in a bowel movement, the only thing that your body should be absorbing is liquid, okay, micronutrient liquid. That's the only thing that should be passing through into the bloodstream out of the intestinal tract. If any fiber passes through into your bloodstream, there's going to be an inflammation response, okay? And that is something you do not want to ever happen, okay? The problem is, in the American diet specifically, the problem is that when we're chewing our food, we are absorbing an abnormal form of juice or liquid into the bloodstream. And instead of creating health, it's creating disease, okay? And that's why I've entitled this particular live and the one yesterday, real food, you know? Is the food we're eating, is the food we're eating medicine? Is the food you're eating medicine? Think about it, okay? Hippocrates' quote was, "Let food be thy medicine and medicine thy food," right? What is a medicine supposed to do? Let's look it up, okay? Excuse me, I got something in my teeth. What is medicine supposed to do? Let's look it up. Let's just look up the word medicine. The definition. That's the best way to come at any conclusion, is just to look it up, you know. Let's just look it up. Okay. It says medicine or the practice of diagnosis, treatment, the science or practice of diagnosis, treatment, and prevention of disease. Okay. And then they have another compounds or preparations used for the treatment or prevention of disease, especially a drug or drugs taken by mouth. Okay, so in this sense, they're talking about something that is going to treat or help prevent the disease, right? So let's talk about prevention. In modern medicine today, with just the 5 major diseases that we have, all right, would you say that these diseases are being prevented or are they being managed, right? Are the diseases today really being prevented? Are patients or people who come down with these ailments, are they being taught prevention or are you being taught management? Because if it's management, that's not prevention. That means the thing that you contracted, okay, or that your body created is still there. And all you're doing is you're getting something to relieve you of the symptom, okay? That's not helping, that's not prevention. That's just managing, okay? So prevention means that you have to stop what is prevent what is causing, because prevention goes back to what is causing the problem. If you don't get to the cause, how can you prevent, right? So again, if food is really a medicine that works on the basis of prevention, it should be preventing you from getting what? Sick, because that's what some medicine is supposed to do. But modern medicine today is not doing that. And herein is where we have the problem. I want to chime in real quick because Facebook has changed their the way you look at your comments for some reason. It's like you can't, I guess it depends on what system you're using, if you're using a computer or whatever, but they're making it difficult to read your comments for some reason. Or comments that have been made on a particular post. And that's kind of creating as I had posted something the other day on one of my lives, and it was a breakdown of, okay, here it is right here. I think it was just a statement basically that I posted in reference to the subject matter. And that's what it's not allowing me to do. It's not allowing me to bring up that statement that I made, because it was regarding food and the fact that today what we're seeing is that, Hippocrates' statement regarding let medicine be thy food and food thy medicine is no longer a true definition of what we are experiencing as a nation, okay? We're just eating and we're not even thinking about the side effects, okay, of what we're consuming. And it's not a medicine. We're not getting a medicine effect in terms of prevention. If anything, we're getting sick from what we're consuming. And then on top of that, we then go and take a drug to prevent the symptom, okay, to address the symptom so we can continue eating like we've been eating. And that's what the modern medical community is really teaching you. They're not teaching you prevention. They may teach you a little bit about prevention, but not enough to prevent you from ever having to take a drug again, because that's where the money is. And it lies in not so much the drug that you're taking or the money that you pay for the drug or even the disease itself. It lies in keeping you ignorant of what constitutes true health. And so when you look at the scripture text in Revelation 22 verse 2, where it says the leaves are for the healing of the nations, and then you look at Hippocrates' statement, the two are really saying basically the same thing, okay? Food should be healing, It should be a medicine. And leaf source food is what the scripture's bringing out. All right. Which means that if you're eating leaf source foods, plant-based foods, you should be getting healed. And if you're not doing that, then the opposite is true, which means that you're going to be in a merry-go-round of sickness. Okay. So on a juice fast, what I'm doing and what I've learned to do is provide the body with the micronutrients from the raw fruit or vegetable, okay? And that's what's feeding me at the cellular level. In fact, it's so powerful because it bypasses digestion and it gets right to the cells immediately. So the cells are satiated, they are energized, they are nourished, they are hydrated, right? They are full of the minerals that the body needs. And so I'm not feeling hungry, I'm feeling energized. Why? Because I've eaten. I just haven't eaten food in the normal fashion. I've actually taken in the micronutrients, okay, which is the end product of food at the cellular level, basically bypassing digestion and getting right to the cells. Because when you eat your body is looking for, in the fiber that you consume, micronutrients. And the sad thing is because how you and I have been taught over the last 30, 40, 50 years, we haven't been taught to consume raw foods which have raw micronutrients in them. We've been taught to eat cooked, baked, boiled, fried, barbecue, microwave food. And the micronutrient liquid from that food is not what the body can use to build a healthy cell in terms of the nutrients, in terms of the energy, in terms of your immunity, in terms of your vitamins and minerals, your amino acids and your proteins. It's all become an abnormal form of liquid that the body just does not recognize. And when it cannot recognize food in its true sense, the metabolism starts to slow down. And whenever it's slowing down, it's because there is an obstruction. Okay, the food language is wrong. All right, you have introduced into a body that only speaks English, Spanish nutrients. You've introduced into a body that only speaks Chinese, Swahili, okay? And it doesn't understand that. So it has to, okay, let me figure out what I can actually use in order to feed this body, okay? Because the human agent is ignorant of what I need, okay? Remember, it's a self-healing body, all right? And it operates apart from your consciousness. Yeah, you eat the food, but after that, what are you doing with it? You ain't doing nothing with it. The body takes over after that. We don't even think twice. We having conversation, we eating, we drinking, food just going down. We just going on about our business, right? Well, something has to happen to the food after it goes down. That's what we constantly expect, right? The body to do what it's supposed to do. And a lot of us are not thinking at the level of the absorption of the nutrients. All we're thinking about is the level of how it tastes and at some point when I'm full. That's how we think. Let's be real. How it tastes and at the level of when I'm full. And then I get up and I go to sleep or I'll go out and take a walk. But that's all that we're really thinking about. We're not thinking about whether that food is going to have some kind of side effect, some poor side effect that's going to affect me down the line. We're not thinking about that. And the reason why is because you have not been taught to think, to know to think about that. You're only looking at the taste. And sometimes, yeah, you might be reading ingredients, but you're looking at it and you're still thinking, you say, okay, that's pretty good. But what's the outcome? What's the real outcome of what it is that you're consuming? Okay, so now the question comes back to, is the food that you're consuming truly a medicine that is producing healing on a continuous level, or is it a food that is providing a poison or a poisonous effect? Something that's going to leave you lethargic, leave you with poor energy, leave you with an inflammation response. Because if the food is causing an inflammation response, that's where the problem herein lies. Okay? And so I was impressed yesterday because someone asked a question and I needed to go back. I don't think it even asked on Facebook. I think it was somebody that was training about what foods to avoid, okay, going forward. And if you want to be healthy, guys, these are 10 foods that you want to avoid. If not altogether eradicate from your diet, or minimize them, okay? Because in order for you to be healthy, you need to be eating at least 70% alkaline, which means 70% raw, okay? And then if you want to really be doing it right, 80%. Because if you're eating 80% raw food, that means raw fruits, raw vegetables, raw smoothies, raw juices, superfoods, okay, you're gonna place yourself in a lifestyle situation where sickness will be experienced very few and far in between, and unless you're a newbie. Now, if you're a newbie to if you're a newbie to eating raw foods, especially superfoods, you're gonna have you're gonna go through a healing crisis. Okay. You're going to go through a healing crisis. And the reason why is because anytime you introduce into the body pure nutrients, the body's then going to start eliminating more efficiently toxins in the body. So if you have a buildup of toxins, you're probably going to be like, okay, it's time to clean house. We got some clean nutrients here. Now we can really do what this puppy's designed to do. It's going to start detoxing. And it's going to start dumping those toxins in the tissue into the bloodstream. And you're going to start feeling a little lightheaded. You might get a headache. You might have diarrhea. You might have a rash. You might even get a cold. Okay? Or a cold symptom and be down for a few days. You might have some strange bowel movements because of stuff blocked up and been locked into the system for days or years, okay? But that's what happens when you start eating really, really clean consistently. Now, that healing crisis is only going to last for a short amount of time, okay? And it might be periodic. It might come and go periodically throughout your journey from eating ordinary to eating extraordinary, okay? But once you start detoxing through nutrition, then those side effects and symptoms of the healing crisis will become less and less in your experience. So here we go. What I recommend you do is take a look at these 10 foods that cause chronic inflammation, trigger pain, fatigue, bloating, and more. Are you someone that's experiencing right now chronic inflammation? Okay, that's MS. Trigger, do you have pain? Do you have a lot of fatigue? When you're consuming food, are you going through a bloating experience? Okay, see, on a juice fast, none of this, all this is, your body is so aligned with the divine model of nutrition that these things don't become a problem at all, because you're eating so simply and so high nourishing. Okay, that's why a lot of times y'all see the soul glow around my health, around me, when I've been doing my lives. And the reason that is it's not so much me doing it; it's the high vibration of the life force of the superfoods that I've been consuming, and that's what's doing it, guys. It's crazy. Okay, so we have dairy, we have wheat, we have GMO corn, we have refined sugar, we have fried food, we have red meats. All right. I said, unfortunately, and these are the things. So if your food is causing you to have inflammation, that's a poison. Your food should not be causing you to have inflammation. That should not be happening. If it does, now you know what you've been doing wrong. Okay, now it's up to you to now unlearn that way of consuming food and start doing the consumption of food now in a better way, eating better. Okay, that's what it means when you're eating foods that don't have causing inflammation. Now, inflammation, as I talked about yesterday, is normal. When you stub your hand or bump your toe, or something drops on you, or you kick something and you hurt yourself, well, yeah, you're gonna get an inflammation. That's a natural thing. But if you're eating and it's causing inflammation, that's a problem. Okay, that's where the silent killer comes in. Okay. So let's take a look now at some of these foods. 10 foods that cause inflammation. Refined sugar. Studies have reported that sugar consumption in the diet causes inflammatory processes to become more active in humans. Dietary sugar promotes de novo synthesis of free fatty acids, FFA, in the liver, which, according to the lipotoxicity theory, toxicity theory, would produce, again, these free fatty acids, metabolites that trigger inflammatory processes and reactivate oxygen species formation. Okay. Sugar also suppresses the immune system. Okay. So what have you been doing during the summertime? You've been eating a lot of sweets? Well, get ready, because you are going to have a cold. Okay. Sugar suppresses the immune system, making your body more susceptible to diseases and infection. Okay. And yeah, you know why sugar for some of you is addictive? Because you're not getting the quality minerals. In order for your body to put yourself in a position where you're not craving sugar, you have to have minerals, because your body needs sugar to live. That's where your energy comes from. Okay. But here's the thing. If sugar is in the blood and not able to access the cell, it's going to back up in the blood. Okay. And that's going to cause a problem. It says satisfy your body with natural need for glucose by eating fresh, ripe, organic fruit, or opting for natural sugar sources that are rich in alkalizing minerals like maple syrup, coconut sugar, okay, Yukon syrup. That's what they're suggesting here. And there are others. Okay. Now for your carbs, you want to move from simple carbs to complex carbs. Okay, because the sugar synthesis is slower instead of fast with simple carbs. Very dangerous. Okay, and most people, that's what their problem is. It's the simple carbs that are killing them, and they don't even know it, because it don't taste sweet. But in the breakdown process, it turns into sugar really, really fast. Simple carbs. That's a tip for you. Number 2, vegetable oil. Okay, that's your canola, corn, sunflower oil. All those products, okay, even the butter, guys, that you've been consuming are high in omega-6s, okay? Omega-6 fatty acids, those are not the good ones, okay? These are the bad ones, okay, that you want to stay away from. I'm sorry, yes, I know you've been eating all your life, but that's causing the problems that you have right now, part of that problems. The body needs healthy balance of omega-3, okay? So you got to do a research now. Omega-3 over omega-6. What are the foods that are high in omega-3 fatty acids? Okay. Most people are consuming more than 6 to 3 times the imbalance. Okay. More omega-6 over 3s. And the imbalance can contribute to, again, chronic inflammation. All right. Currently, the Western diet provides 6-to-3 ratio between says 10 and 50. Excess consumption. This is interesting. Excess consumption of omega-6 can trigger the body to produce pro-inflammatory chemicals. And while omega-3s are anti-inflammatory, scientists have hypothesized that eating too much omega-3s counteract beneficial effects. Well, that also can be argued as well. Instead of vegetable oils, opt for healthier anti-inflammatory oils. Avocado, coconut, okay, olive oil, and in dark bottles. You don't want to get away from the bottles that are clear, because whenever you have a clear bottle of oil, then the light hits that, it becomes rancid over time, especially because it's been sitting on the shelf. That's why you want to get the darker bottles. I mean, the bottles that look like this, you can't even see through them, okay? That's the kind of oil you want to be getting. It's a higher grade of oil. It's more expensive, but again, what is your health worth? Is your health worth risking diabetes? Is your health worth risking arterial sclerosis? Because that's what we're doing when we sit back and say, you know what, I'm just going to continue doing what I'm doing. I'm not going to get that sick. I'll be okay. That's not how it works, man. You got to know what your body needs and how it ticks, okay, how it operates to get the best outcome. Because if you don't, you are going to have an obstruction as a result of inflammation. That's going to land you in somebody's hospital, okay, on somebody's drug, drip, pill, narcotic, surgery, amputation, vaccination. okay? Because that's the program that's waiting for you if you don't turn it around. I'm telling you guys, that's how it is, okay? Again, the leaves are for the healing of the nation. Let food be thy medicine. This is not medicine when I'm reading, okay? These vegetable oils, that's not medicine, okay? The sugars, the refined sugars, the processed refined sugars, that's not medicine. Okay, dairy products, again, not medicine, not for you and not for a cow. You cannot feed back to a growing calf homogenized pasteurized milk. That milk has had the nutrients boiled out of it for shelf life. That's what the whole, look, pasteurization is, it comes from, the science is, was built based upon Pasteur's germ theory, okay? Louis Pasteur, pasteurization. Make the link, y'all, okay? This is third eye health science coming to you right now, okay? And take that little bit of information, study it out. Louis Pasteur and pasteurization, okay? Another one of those gimmicks that came out where people were trying to sterilize everything and not even eat raw fruits because they thought germs was on them. And they started to do that with the milk too. Better you drink the raw milk, but you got to have, again, a source for that than this homogenized pasteurized milk. Okay, it ain't the best, but if you're gonna drink milk, at least drink real milk, because the milk we drink in the day, that is not real milk. Okay, that is an altered form of milk. And even if you fed it back to a baby calf, that calf would die because there's no nutrients in it. So if the baby calf would die, then what's happening to you? Mucus and all these other kind of things forming, okay? All dairy products are high in saturated fats. That's not food. That's not medicine, y'all. All dairy products are high in saturated fats, which are naturally inflammation causing. Large observational studies have shown direct association between plasma saturated fatty acid status with markers of low-grade inflammation in both overweight and lean adults and children as a result of drinking milk. Okay? Look, y'all, drinking milk is so abnormal. All right? We are mammalian. We're mammals. All right? And we have a weaning period. All mammals do. We're supposed to drink from the breasts of our mothers, just like a mammal does, for a short period of time. And then we should graduate now to solid food. That's why the calf does not remain, drinking from its mother's milk. Eventually, it's going to be eating grass. Why are we still drinking milk as humans? And you ain't even drinking human milk. You drinking some animal's milk. Abnormal. It's abnormal. Even the animals don't do it. They only are on milk for a short amount of time and then they are weaned off of it. What on earth are we doing? In fact, we don't even know we're doing because, again, it's a conditioned response. And you wonder why you're sick and getting sicker by the day. Because you hooked on this idea that this way, it's giving me vitamin D. No, it's giving you inflammation, okay? We can get vitamin D from far richer sources than factory pasteurized milk. That's like the worst thing that you can do. This is a wake-up call, y'all, okay? Of course, now my fasting journeys, they are meant for me to, get enlightenment and then share it with you, as to how to do this thing right naturally, okay? Because fasting is one of those things that is one of the highest proactive life-sustaining, life extension journeys that a person could take, all right? And it helps you to see what real nutrients is when you're doing it for 40 days, yo. Not 10, not 21, not 30, 40. And that's just the entry into the masters, okay? Because these brothers that are really doing it, they doing it 60, 80, and 120. And that category of people, few and far in between. Just like doing a 40-day, we are few and far in between. But there's a science behind that, okay? Okay, so dairy contains lactose and casein proteins, both common allergens. So you got allergies? Milk. When an allergen interacts with the immune system, it promotes the release of inflammatory neuropeptides, thereby triggering a cascade of unfavorable reactions in the body. So if you're drinking milk, yes, you're going to have an inflammatory response, if not happening already. How long you been drinking milk? Do your research. There are plenty of dietary alternatives out there. Plant-based milk, if you got to have it. Plant-based cheese, yogurts, ice creams, all plant-based if you have to have it. All right. This is the way to go. And even that, okay, it's just bridging over to just eat more natural. When I say natural, just eating more raw fruits and raw vegetables in their raw state. And the best way to get the highest nourishment today is to do superfoods. That is the best way, guys, is to be doing superfoods. All right. And you guys have been watching me. You want my source that you haven't ordered yet. Mind, Body, and Soul, fulvic acid. I highly recommend. You can all get those through my website. The first order comes with a discount, $25. Trust me, it's worth its weight in gold. Because what you're doing when you start consuming the higher nutrients is you're setting yourself up for prevention, which is what medicine's supposed to do anyway. But the medicine you're taking is not preventing you from getting disease. It's keeping you on this merry-go-round where you are actually just addressing the symptoms. And once the symptom is gone, then you're going back for the drug. Then you get the drug again, leave the symptom. Symptoms now back, and you're running back to the drug again. That's not how the body's supposed to work. Okay. In fact, it is an affront to the human body that you are even going through that. Okay. Because the body has a nutrition that it's supposed to take in. It has a medicine. You just aren't using it. You aren't using it, and you don't believe in it because you haven't been conditioned to believe in it. But again, for those of you who are Bible believing, look up in your word, Revelation chapter 22, verse 2. The leaves are for the healing of the nation. You go back to look at the children of Israel for 40 years. All they ate was manna. They didn't eat meat. They ate manna for 40 years. That's it. Plant-based. I'm just saying. That's a huge example of veganism. Okay? If you haven't checked that one out, yeah. That's one you ain't heard of, or even, that's one your pastors hadn't even got to yet. Okay? Because they don't even see it. Because they doing the same thing that the average American's doing on these church potlucks. Y'all eating the same crappy food, and you got the same crappy diet, the same crappy outcome, because most people in our churches today is overweight just like everybody else. Why? Because we eating the world's foods. We eating the way the world eats. And that's not the way your body was designed to metabolize and mature. Okay? Sorry, but that's the real deal. 4, wheat, rye, and barley. I'm going to end it on this one. I'm going to have to come back for part 3. Okay, these wheat-containing grains all contain a common allergen called gluten. Okay, notice when I'm sharing my superfoods, guys, on the superfood package, it says no gluten. Okay, now here's the thing, all right? When gluten enters the body, particularly in gluten-sensitive people, it responds by firing up the immune system and setting off an inflammatory cascade. The resulting effects of gluten sensitivity range from body pain to mucus production, runny nose, coughing up mucus. What does that sound like? A common cold? Could we prevent our own common cold response by just doing away with the gluten? Okay? And that's just one. There's some other things about gluten that are really dangerous that, again, you're not going to hear about on the nightly news. And the reason why is because, listen, if we come out against gluten, we come out against the food corporations, okay, that have the money to do the commercials, produce the commercials that control how modern medicine promotes healing, because they all work together. You can't be taking away their money by exposing the error and how they make their food, and gluten is one of them. And again, it's your ignorance that doesn't allow you to really see the forest through the trees. It's hidden in plain sight, but it's there. Okay, I'm just another brother that's breaking it down so you can see it for what it is. And most of y'all are not really going to hear it. I already know, because it's hard. All right. You're going to sit back. For those of you who are watching, a lot of y'all are going to sit back and look at this and be like, yeah, but. And then you're going to go on with life until that arthritis hits you. That diabetes is hitting you now. That cancer or multiple, disease process effect is happening to your body. And you only have to blame yourself, y'all, because you don't catch nothing. You create it by your lifestyle, okay? And I have a very well known and prolific doctor that has been on TV myriads of times back in the 80s, Dr. Lorraine Day, who will tell you to your face that you gave yourself diabetes, you gave yourself cancer, you gave yourself heart disease, you gave yourself Crohn's, you gave yourself MS. And then because of her background as a trauma surgeon, in the top of her field, who switched from the sad American diet to a plant-based diet, she can make the connection because she knows all the traps. That's why she ain't afraid to tell it like it is. Okay, not only that, she's a cancer survivor. She healed her own self of cancer. Okay? By doing what? Simply what I'm telling you, you have to change the way in which you consume food. Okay? 10 bad foods. All right, going on. According to Massachusetts General Hospital in Boston, no human being completely digests gluten. You don't digest it. And for those who are gluten sensitive, undigested gluten triggers the release of zanolin. Zanolin is a protein that helps to regulate leaky gut or leakiness in the gut. It is responsible for opening and closing the spaces. I talked about this earlier. Zanolin is responsible for closing the spaces known as the intestinal tight junctions between the cells lining of the digestive tract. Gluten just so happens to trigger the release of zanolin in celiac patients as well as in those who are gluten sensitive. Okay, so here we have gluten now. It's the gluten connection that causes the tight junctions in your intestinal tract to open. And when that happens, guess what? Food passes through, which should never, ever happen. And that causes an inflammatory response. Okay? We don't want that. When your gut becomes leaky, a host of health problems can result. Instead of keeping undigested food particles safely in one place for excretion, okay? Because fibrous food becomes what? They become food particles that must be eliminated through the bowel that shouldn't be passing into your intestinal tract. So any fibrous food you eat, pass out in the bowel movement. The only thing that's supposed to be absorbed from that is liquid. That's what passes through, not fiber into the bloodstream. Anyway, guys, I'm in there. I'm going to have to come back because this is kind of lengthy, but it's really good to go back over because, again, just a lot of us, man, are just ignorant. We just don't know. And it's really not your fault. It's a blessing to come into an arena and an atmosphere and a circle of people who are talking about health. That's how I got, inspired, and it's still inspired to this day. For the past 30 years, I've been just inspired and growing, and I want to create this masterpiece. Thank you, Akua, for bringing that out today. That every day you need to create your masterpiece. You want to have a masterpiece of health. You want to have a masterpiece in your business, okay? You want to have a masterpiece in your relationships, how you are interacting, okay? Everything we interact with, you're supposed to be creating this masterpiece of a day or an experience in that thing. So you need to be thinking about how are you creating a masterpiece of health within your body? Do you have a relationship with your self-healing body, okay, that operates apart from your consciousness? Do you understand that relationship is a give and take? Okay, you have to give it something in order for it to give back to you something. All right. If you give it poison, it's going to give you back disease. If you give it health, if you give it nourishment, it's going to give you back health. Okay. So if you're walking around and you don't have health, it's because you haven't been giving your body what it needs to make you well. Because it just doesn't work. It's a law. Okay. It is a law. Just like if you put the wrong kind of fluid in your car, it ain't going to run right. It's the law of automotive, the automotive industry. Okay, mechanics. Okay, that's just how it works. You cannot put oil in the gas tank. You can't put oil. You can't put gas in the radiator. That's not how it works. Okay, so you can't hook a negative to the positive. Okay. You're gonna have a reaction. You see what I'm saying? So there's a law, and the thing is, we ain't functioning within law. That's how come we breaking down. Anyway, I love you guys to health. This is day 36, 40 Juice Fast with Fitness, year 10, and my journey comes to a close. I hope that a lot of the information that I've shared with you is beneficial to you, that you can use it. I know some of the things I say are kind of harsh, kind of hard to hear. But hey, I got to tell you the truth, man, because if I don't, then I wouldn't be doing my job, okay? But the bright side of the thing is if you start doing some of the things I'm talking about and doing your research, you're going to find the fountain of youth. And once you step into that arena and you start really experiencing what your body can actually do for you, okay, and prolong your health and your youthfulness and your energy and your immunity, you will start getting excited about, your other side of you that you are not really familiar with. And that's something that we all need to do more of, even myself, okay? With all that I know, I'm still not where I want to be with this, okay? I'm still learning and growing. But I have enough, I believe, as a practical authority in the game to get back to you guys because, as you can see, I'm getting these results. So I'm sharing them with you. Anyway, love your health. I'll see you tomorrow, day 37. Have a blessed night.